Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki for those of you that are new, and I like to talk about all things law school related, fitness related, veganism, and anything else really that I feel like talking about. I had this project in my head for a little while. The idea was to have a bunch of my friends that I've met in law school, my colleagues, to get together and for each of them to discuss their experiences with law school, kind of having like a panel of sorts. Unfortunately, that idea couldn't really happen because around March we were sent home due to the coronavirus, and we have been online ever since. And I know that it's been a very stressful year because we were finishing up the last bit of our final year and we had the bar exam to study for. So it was very hard for people to even want to get together, even socially distance. But I did have two amazing colleagues of mine that talked about their experiences and then sent me videos discussing their experience with law school. And I decided that I would do a react video to that. I just really wanted to really give you guys something other than my own personal experience of what they dealt with in law school, and give you some perspective, and I hope this helps for any of you that are looking into law school or maybe thinking about becoming an attorney or maybe getting into your next step in terms of the LSAT and getting into the school that you want, or making friends while in law school. I hope that this video does help you. And we're gonna watch one of my gems. Her name is Rachel Fleischman. We're gonna watch her video first.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm a graduating 3L at Barry University School of Law. So in this video, I'm just going to chat a little bit about my 1L experience, any sort of advice that I can give you guys if you're just starting out. So a little bit about myself. I went to the University of Central Florida and I was an English creative writing major. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, which is pretty unconventional for people going to law school, but I am so happy that I did, because I could not imagine where I would be today without going to law school and really finding out who I am. I definitely wasn't the best student undergrad. I didn't know my potential. I came into law school that first day, first year, and I looked around and I was like, oh my gosh, like all these people are so smart. What am I gonna do? And that's when I told myself, Rachel, you are going to be a nerd. That's what you're going to do, and you will survive this, and you're going to do great. And that's exactly what I did. I, got the big binders. I bought all the tabs and the highlighters and the pens, and I took diligent notes, and I tried my best. I always did my own work. I always studied. After every exam, I was confident that whatever grade I got, I deserved, because I studied to the best of my ability. And that's definitely something that I can tell you that you should go into law school doing. You will be tempted to rely on other students or tempted to go online for online resources, and those are good to an extent. Something that I can definitely give advice for is, in the long run, it will definitely help you if you do the work yourself, because going into bar prep and going into practice, you're going to have that underlying knowledge that you struggled through the issues, you struggled through those fact patterns on your own, and I think it also gives you a point of pride to know that you did all that work yourself. My 1L year was pretty intimidating because I was trying to be a nerd the whole time, but I wouldn't take it back for the world. I had a great time. Some things that I wish I did throughout law school, not just my first year, was getting involved more. I started to get involved in clubs and organizations closer to my 3L year, and I wish I did it sooner. If you do it sooner, then you can form those relationships with mentors within those programs, with people in the legal community that will help you get a job after graduation. Nothing is more stressful than being in your last semester trying to find a job. So a lot of students recommend getting a job the summer before your 3L year, and then trying to solidify a post-grad employment with them. And part of me wishes that I did that. So if I could go back, I would do that. So that's definitely some advice I would give, is even though you're being pushed with all this work and you have all these expectations of you as a student, you always have to think about post-graduation though. That should always be something in the back of your mind, is thinking, how is this going to further my career? How is this going to get me a job? How is this going to help me with whatever job I do get? Something that I did that I thought was helpful, because I didn't really know what kind of law I wanted to get into, I actually tried everything. So I took a lot of elective classes like family law and wills, trusts, and estates, and I got a job at an estate planning law firm where they also did probate, and I did a bankruptcy clinic. So I kind of stretched myself out a little bit to kind of dip my toes in all those waters to figure out what I wanted. And I think that really helped me kind of narrow down where I see myself, because you might have one image of what you think that your career is going to be like, and it may not end up like that, because you might take a property class and think that is the most fun subject ever, or you may take a contracts class and realize that contracts and commercial law and secure transactions is not for you, and law school is the place to do it. And I think, getting judgeships, I really wish I did a judgeship. I know a lot of people are focused on getting paid jobs, and a lot of judgeships are not paid, but something that I really wish I did was one of those, because everyone who's done one has said it was the most beneficial experience that they've ever had. They see the court system from behind, enemy lines, and I think everyone who's done it says that going in front of a judge doesn't seem as intimidating anymore, because you do know what goes on behind the scenes. So that's something that I really wish I did.
So clicky.
I really, thinking about my experience throughout law school, I wouldn't say anything out of the ordinary or crazy happened. I think I definitely noticed that law school is a little bit more cliquey than I would like it to be, just because you're kind of told that you need to form these study groups, and those study groups are make or break your law school career. So everyone in my first year, I feel like they just clung together, and I was like, I don't even know you people really yet. I don't know if we'd get along. I'm still trying to figure out who I am, so I don't know if our study habits are gonna line up. So that was a little intimidating and kind of threw me off, because I feel like coming from a big university like UCF, I didn't anticipate this kind of high school cliquey scene. That definitely changed going into your 2L or 3L year, and this is just from my experience, because I feel like people realize that we're all in this together, and it really doesn't matter who you're studying with or who you're associated with, because we're all learning the same material, taking the same tests, struggling the same. And I definitely feel like my 3L year, I could safely say I could walk throughout campus, down the halls, and if I have a question or if I just want to talk and sit at a table with anyone, I would feel more than comfortable sitting next to any single person in my class. And I think that's also something you should always keep in the back of your mind, is your legal community in law school should be a direct representation of how you act in the legal community outside of law school. As lawyers, it's not really the stigma that, we're ambulance chasers or we're cutthroat. You're allowed to be nice as a lawyer, you're allowed to be friendly, you're allowed to be engaging, and I think that's a lot of people don't realize, that you don't have to be an asshole to be an attorney. I guess sometimes it helps, but I don't know. So I just think that being the kindest person you can possibly be to your fellow colleagues in law school will help you in the long run, because you don't know whether that person in your class that you were nice to could be your future employer, or could be your future coworker, and you never want to burn any bridges, because we're all here to get a job. We're all here because we want to be lawyers, and we want to change the world, and we want to help people one person at a time. And if social stigmas or petty feuds gets in the way of your client getting the best possible representation, I don't think that's appropriate. So I would definitely suggest holding yourself to a higher standard no matter where you are. Whether you're going to a club meeting, whether you're just sitting in the cafeteria, whether you're just doing homework in the library, always know that your reputation is yours and you are the master of it, and you can make it what you want. So if you want your reputation to be good and you want people to respect you, then you have to make that happen. It's not just going to happen on its own. So that's a little bit of advice I have. If you're interested in law school, I want you to go for it. When I first started thinking about it, I think I asked around and people were like, don't do it. It's so hard. You're going to regret it. And I thought either way I was doing it. So I was like, I don't know why you're telling me this, because either way I'm doing it. Like I already paid the deposit. I'm on my way. So don't let anyone discourage you from doing something that you want to do, because it's your life and you can do whatever you want to do. So I would say, if this is something that you can envision yourself in that really nice suit, and you can envision yourself walking up those court steps or going to your first day at the office and doing that legal research, and you can see it, then I think you should do it. You have to. You have to give yourself the chance, and you never want to think back and think, I wish I did it, because you should just do it. So I hope this helped, and just keep doing you.
Hey guys, my name is PJ Tamburello. I'm a friend of Nikki's. I go to law school with her. We have been in school together since our first year of law school back in 2017, and we have worked together on many projects, many classes. We've gotten through a lot of final seasons together, almost every one of them. And she asked me to do this video to give my personal experience with law school, to give any tips and tricks that I had for people starting law school, and any advice I had for people considering going to law school. So we're going to start this off with why I went to law school. After undergrad, I worked a lot of different jobs, thinking that I could either just get a job by having an undergrad degree or go start my own business or something. I tried to do a lot of different things. Took about 3 years off, and nothing panned out. It was in about 2014, 2017, bad time, economy was just recovering, and I didn't have a lot of direction. A lot of things going on. So, end of 2016, I got tired of working a dead-end job and knew that I could get back into school, so I just shotgun applied to law school as soon as I took the LSAT. I decided in November and took it in December. That's a terrible way to go about it. We'll get more into that later. So I went to law school mostly, though, because I thought that just having more education and having a professional degree would do better for me. And I was right. And I don't regret law school at all. That's something I want to get out of the way straight away, because there is a lot of problems with law school, but I do not regret it. It is the best education I ever experienced, because for the first time in my life, I feel like I am actually thinking critically, not just accepting information that's being told to me. That's my personal experience. But what I like best about law school is the learning style. It's not a teacher talking to you and saying, this is what you have to know, and then asking you on the test, what did you have to know? It's a teacher expecting you to go home at night, read the material, immerse yourself in what you're supposed to be learning, and then when you get to class, the teacher doesn't really go through the material except to guide you through what you went over on your own. And what's supposed to happen is that the teacher will ask you questions very broadly based on your opinion or what you were supposed to have gotten out of the lesson. Not what year did Columbus sail across the Atlantic Ocean, but why did he do it? And then when you give your response, the teacher is supposed to then challenge your basis for that response. They're supposed to continue pushing your idea and making you question your basis for your assertions. It gets a little lost in law school. There is a lot of procedure and formality that gets lost with that, but even then, knowing that it's not exactly what it's supposed to be, it's still a better style of learning because it makes the students actually engage and think about the material, not just memorize it. The hard part of law school. It is hard. It is going to be hard. It is the hardest thing you will ever do in your life, most likely, if you go to law school. And the hardest part for me was that in law school, almost every person there was the quote-unquote smart kid. The kid that throughout all their other education didn't have to try. For me, from the time I was in school in first grade all the way through undergrad, I could show up for class, pay attention with one ear, doodle with my other hand, and show up to the test and get between a mid-range B and an A. School was just easy for me because memorization was easy. When I got to law school, I thought those same tips and tricks and study habits that I had would be enough. I had no idea going in. I did no research. And I fell hard. I almost failed out of law school my first semester. And that's a common thing. A lot of people become, for the first time in their life, gain a feeling of feeling stupid. It's not a fun feeling, and your teachers don't try to alleviate it. They put you under more stress, because that's what your job is going to be if you're going to be a lawyer. It is going to be stress. You're representing someone's life and livelihood. You're defending their freedom or arguing why a victim's attacker should not have their freedom. You're dealing with people's lives and livelihoods and taking them away or granting them every day. That is a very stressful situation, and it puts a lot of responsibility on you. So the school does reflect the reality of the practice. With that being said, there is not a lot of good, open, explorable paths to making it easier. There's no really good way to make it easier because of what it is, and there's a lot of pressure on the students to either suck it up and get by, or fail. The first year of law school very much is a gatekeeper function. A lot of the 1L teachers act as if they are, Gandalf standing before the Balrog, you shall not pass. It feels that way because it feels like the teachers are hiding the ball or not giving you information or testing you on something different. That's not really what's happening, but it will feel that way. So you have to be able to get used to that. The craziest thing that happened to me with law school was a complete re-understanding of the way I have to educate myself. Like I said, because I thought that I was doing enough, I almost failed out, and where I almost failed out hardest was in civil procedure. It's a very technical course. It's pretty much reading the federal rules of civil procedure and memorizing them. It's one of the few times when memorization in law school is a thing. But I thought I was doing enough. I thought I was understanding what was going on. I thought I understood how to apply these rules. And when it came time for the first semester final, I almost failed. I barely squeaked by with the lowest grade of a C I could get, because in your core classes a C is passing, not a D. And when I went to have a meeting with my professor about my essay, and I asked him about it, he said, you put down literally just enough information to prove that you learned something. And your analysis was just close enough to prove that you can analyze something. This paper was a failing paper. I should have failed you, but you put down just enough to show that you did learn something. I think you're lazy. I think he told me exactly what I was. He said, I think you were the smart kid in high school. I think you didn't have to try. I think you became lazy, and I don't know if you can cut it out in the legal field. Prove me wrong next semester. And I ended up getting an A in class. Turns out I'm the kind of person that needs a kick in the ass every now and again, and you might be too. But the fact of the matter is, law school will change you. There will be things that you're not used to. I don't care how well you prepare, how many For Dummies books you read, how many blog posts you follow, and how many pre-orientation events at the school you attend. You're not going to be ready. You just can't be for what you're doing. So if you plan to go to law school, if you want to go to law school, take these into consideration. I'm not trying to scare anyone away. It is a great thing. It is still I still stand by what I said earlier, that it's the best thing that I've ever chosen to do. But the one thing you have to know is the time involved. When you're in law school, the first year of law school, most law schools will not let you have a part-time job at all, because you have to relearn everything. You're basically trying to learn 3 languages at once, and you're expected to be fluent on the first day. So what you have to do, and what you end up having to do, is work 35 to 45 hours a week on homework to then go spend 30 hours a week in class, you're spending a lot of time and efforts, 60, 70 hours a week. It's going to feel like there's no time to breathe. So what you need to do is find a way to juggle everything. The best advice I can give, which is again something that I failed to do for most of my law school time, is plan ahead. Excuse me. Plan ahead. And what I mean by that is, first day of classes, a week before classes start, whenever your teachers give you the syllabi for the class, go through and mark down in a calendar in your smartphone, whatever your daily planner, whatever you like to do. Mark down when everything is due. Mark down every day what you're going to study, when you're going to study, and why you're going to study it, for how long. Make sure you have a plan so that at the end of the day, you can walk through these things and not feel like you're overwhelmed. Because there's not going to be enough hours in the day, it's not going to feel like it, and you're still going to have to make time for yourself. You can't do all of this and not have time for fun. It's a really hard mentality to get into, but it is once you get into the swing of law school, you're gonna feel something that a lot of people feel to one degree or another, and it's kind of a loss of sense of self because of what you're learning and how you're learning and how much time you have to devote to this. You really do lose a lot of your natural free time to work on what you want to work on and to be creative in the way you are used to being creative, to doing the things that you just truly love to do for yourself and for no other reason than you like to do them. So what you need to do with all of this is, in planning, is find a time in that crazy, ridiculous juggling technique of a schedule you're going to have to insert at least 1 hour a day for something that you love to do and that is completely unrelated to your schoolwork. It's necessary. It's absolutely necessary. Squeeze in as much time as you can, but do not forget to not overbalance. Law school is a heavy time commitment. That loss of sense of self that I was talking about is a really dangerous thing because it can lead a lot of people down to severe depression. Almost every law student is going to feel some form of depression or anxiety. Again, comes with the amount of stress. How you mitigate it is up to you. And if you, the more ways you can find to keep yourself happy and comfortable and grounded in who you are as a person and what you're in law school for, truly for, then I think you'll be able to not have the crazy negative experiences like I had with that loss of self and having to refigure out who you are on the fly, especially under all the stress. It is scary, it is hard, it is tough. You're going to feel alone no matter how many roommates you have, no matter what kind of living situation you're in, and no matter how many great friends and great study buddies you have. You're going to feel alone. You're going to feel like nobody understands it, and you're going to feel like no matter how smart you had been or how much work you have done on something, that there's always someone that's just going to be better than you. And that's not true. They're going through their own struggle too. It is just as hard for every single person there. The best thing about law is that there is so many facets of it. It makes up so much of our society that literally everyone has a place. If you want to go do medical malpractice, you've got a science background from undergrad, you're welcome in law school. If you want to go fight for immigration rights and you have a background in public service, there's a place for you. If you want to go be a corporate in-house counsel for a giant Fortune 500 company, there's a place for you too. Law school has a place for everybody. But you have to really understand what you want to do with it to make yourself fit in, because no one's going to try and fit in for you. Everyone is under just the exact same amount of stress as you are, and the entire point of going to this professional school is that the administration is going to tell you, you're about to be a professional, figure it out. It's hard, it sucks, it's painful, and it is unlike any other school you've ever gone to. So if you are considering going to law school, some things you should know. Everything I've just said, you should know that, literally. But besides that, make an informed decision. Go find books. Go ask your friends if your parents have friends that are attorneys, or if your friends are attorneys, or if your parents are attorneys, or if you have friends that went to law school. Any of these things. Get firsthand experiences, or get firsthand advice as much as you can. It's a great thing to have because everyone has their own story. Everyone has their own experience. Second, make sure you want to be a lawyer. The difference really at the end of the day between someone like me who went to law school on a whim or because nothing else was working and someone who wants to be a lawyer is someone who wants to be a lawyer will be able to keep that momentum moving forward because this is what they've wanted. They know they want this. How do you know if you want to be a lawyer? How do you know if you actually want to do this before you go to law school? Big question, good question. If you can, go get a job as a legal assistant or go intern at a legal firm. Do something to get some kind of first-hand experience in any way you can. If you can't do that, well, if you're still an undergrad, maybe get in some law classes. Pre-law is good, but really only good if you know you want to go to law school. So if you're not sure about that, make sure you get some legal basis and some understanding, but don't just jump straight into pre-law if that's also not a sure thing for you. But the biggest thing is making an informed decision. Make sure you know what you want to do with the law. Make sure you know what kind of schooling you want to receive. Make sure you do your education. Make sure you do your homework on the educational facility you want to attend. What school you want to go to. Because the last thing I want to talk about is the money, and it is a huge thing. The money involved in law school is ridiculous. You're going to come out. Most likely, the average right now, I believe, is somewhere between $190,000 and $210,000 of debt from law school for the average student. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of stress. It's a lot of mental health weight. And at the end of the day, if you're not 100% sure, you might end up regretting it. I'm lucky. I don't regret it. But I know friends that dropped out after one semester. I know friends that dropped out after 3 semesters and had $200,000 in debt because they had a different scholarship plan or financial plan than I did. If you're gonna start, finish it, because at that point, I mean, if you drop out, you can't use it, and it is a waste of money. But if you finish it, at least if you can push through it, you'll never regret having the education that you did. So at the end of the day, what you need to do to be successful in law school is to be a good lawyer. You have to be organized. You have to be on top of things. You have to be able to plan ahead, and you have to think of what's going to go wrong so that you can plan for that too. You have to be able to do research. You have to be able to think critically about every little thing, every little aspect, and every little outcome, and that's what law school teaches you. Law school doesn't teach you black letter law and how to tell someone what the U.S. Code 26-11 says. It's to make you think like a lawyer. It's to make you be able to analyze every contingency and to make an informed, reasoned argument and convince and persuade someone to your side. So if any of that doesn't sound like you, law school might not be for you. But the education you will receive in law school, if you choose to go, will be one of the best things you ever do in your life, so long as you can make it through it. But it's going to be hard, it's going to be tough, and it's going to hurt. And that's what I think everyone should know about law school.
Love them, my friends, and they truly are like a few. I've met so many people in law school, and I'm so thankful for them. And Rachel and PJ are really one of the best people that I have come to know, and they're absolutely incredible people. And I know they're going to do amazing things in the legal world and help people. So I'm really excited for them, and I'm so appreciative that they were able to take time out of their busy schedule to make this video and send it to me. And I have been wanting to do this project with them for a long time. I just, time and schedule and life really does get in the way. But again, I am so thankful, so thankful for them to be able to take the time, talk, and I hope that you found their advice very helpful. I hope that you at least are able to pick up something from this, where it was able to help you in the long run. And if you do like more videos like this, feel free to leave a comment down below. I would love to have more people come in and weigh in on their thoughts about law school and their experiences. And please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell notification button, and I shall see you guys next time. And again, thank you, and thank you, Rachel and PJ.